certainly danced around my head. I made myself a coffee, put some cornflakes and milk in a bowl, and sat down at the kitchen table. I wrapped Rachel's shawl around my shoulders. It was chilly, but I couldn't be bothered setting the fire, since I'd be leaving the house in the next hour. There was an appointment at the dentist to attend, and then I planned to do some grocery shopping. The 2 books still lay on the table where we'd left them last night. I reached over and turned on the radio to listen to the morning's news, and began absent-mindedly flicking through some of the pages of the Reverend Griffin's History of the Old Hall. There were chapters on the origins of the hall and the houses that had come before it. I read that the first house on the site was built by the Norman squire Roger Durundle at the end of the 11th century. It was subsequently sold and redeveloped by another Norman squire, Hugh Dorneville, whose surname roughly translated as of the village of alder trees, with this in turn developing into the current family's name of de Alderville. Curious. I balanced another large serving of milk and cornflakes on my spoon and turned more of the pages. There was also a chapter on the 12th century Benedictine priory in the town, and I read about the strange tale of another de Alderville ancestor, Bishop Robert. According to the Reverend Charles, the bishop was quite mad and had attempted one Christmas Eve to fly off the priory's tallest tower in the misguided belief that he had turned into a seagull. That made me smile, before realising that it probably hadn't ended too well for him. One of the later chapters spoke about a 17th century lord of the manor, Rufus de Alderville. It said that Rufus was responsible for building the current manor house and renaming it de Alderville Hall, although the name never caught on. The locals continued to refer to the manor simply as the Hall, and then subsequently as the Old Hall. A footnote at the bottom of the page reminded readers not to confuse the name Old Hall with Old House, which was the local name for the town's Benedictine priory. The note also suggested that the word house, spelt with a W, was probably derived from the Anglo-Saxon word meaning someone who worked in a priory or convent. Upon reading this, I put my spoon down. This was interesting. I recognised the unusual spelling of the word house, with a W replacing the letter U. It appeared on the sign above V de Alderville Grange's pub on Dick Street, the old house at home. I'd assumed that the pub's name had something to do with the old hall. I was obviously mistaken. At that I closed the book and took a last sip of my tea. Checking the time, I noted that it was nearly 9 o'clock. I was running late and still needed to get a shower, so I quickly washed my bowl and cup in the sink and headed upstairs to the bathroom. 2 hours later, and I was sitting in Fox Cafe with a slice of carrot cake and a cup of tea in front of me. My dental checkup had gone well, and so I decided, probably perversely, that I was allowed some cake as a reward. It was nice and warm in the cafe, and apart from myself and a young couple opposite, who were both tucking into hot bacon rolls, the place was empty. I reached into my bag and brought out Maria Catchpole's book, placing it on the table and taking a sip of tea. she was in here last week. Hadn't seen her for years. She used to pop in here quite a lot at one time. I'm told she's a local woman, I said. That's right, said Beryl. She used to stop by to chat quite regularly. Always wanted to know about the history of the town and all that. I see, I said. Then she still lives around here? Oh no, answered Beryl. Not now. She moved down to London, married a vet, or was he a surgeon? Anyway, his name was... oh, I can't remember. Let me ask Rosie. I was just about to say, it's fine, please don't trouble yourself, but Beryl had already moved across to the cafe's counter and was chatting with the lady who had served me earlier. I gathered this was Rosie. Beryl came back to the table with Rosie, who stood drying her hands on a tea towel. It's funny, said Rosie, because, as I was saying to Beryl, I was only talking to Stan about Maria Catchpole yesterday. Stan, I said. That wouldn't be Stan Fogg by any chance, would it? Yes, said Rosie. Do you know him? We've met a couple of times, I said, smiling. My daughter and I live next door to his brother Bert. Now isn't that a coincidence, said Beryl, turning to Rosie, who nodded back in agreement. I sighed. Nothing seemed to be a coincidence in Monk's Ferry. Was Maria visiting family then, I asked. I mean, if she doesn't live here anymore. Oh no, said Beryl. The Catchpoles are all dead now. Maria was the last one. An only child, you see. Ah, right, I said. Yes, said Rosie. She married a doctor named Griffin. Apparently he's the new owner of the old hall. Well, so Stan tells me anyhow. I was stunned. So, Maria Catchpole, local woman and author of A History of Monk's Ferry, had married the new owner of the old hall. And as a Griffin, her husband was also a possible descendant of the Reverend Griffin's family. My mind began to race. Would that mean that he might have a familial connection to the mysterious C.G., the person who Rachel and I now believed had something to do with the murder of Elizabeth Pike? Are you all right? I heard Beryl say. You've gone very quiet. I stirred distractedly at the second piece of cake on my fork. I must text Rachel to let her know. She'd be as surprised as me. But why didn't Bert tell us about this last night? He obviously told Stan. Maybe he didn't think it was important. That must be it. I looked up at Beryl. No, I'm fine, thank you. Would you like more tea? Said Beryl, pointing to my half-empty cup. No, thank you, I answered. Well, if you need anything else, I'll be in the back, said Beryl, as she began to walk away, with Rosie at her heels. I suddenly had a thought and said, Is that why Maria was back in Monk's Ferry then? Was she visiting the hall? Beryl stopped and turned. Oh yes, she was back in the town with her husband, although he didn't come to the cafe with her. She said it wasn't his kind of place, added Rosie, huffing. Not fancy enough, added Beryl. Oh, I said. Well, he's missing out then, isn't he? That's exactly what I said Rosie, turning to Beryl. It is, said Beryl, agreeing. It is exactly what you said. After I finished my cake and the rest of my tea, I waved goodbye to the ladies, who were now huddled together in deep conversation behind the counter. I'd sent a text to Rachel giving her the news about Maria Catchpole, and she replied immediately with a "No way," which made me smile. rubbish that I needed to take to the local tip. It was only when I heard the front door open that I realised it was getting late and Rachel was home. "What time is it?" I called out to the hallway. "Just after 6, she answered, coming through to the kitchen. She threw both her bag and herself on the comfy chair and let out a long sigh. "I am exhausted." "Me too," I said, tying up the last bag of rubbish and placing it at the back door. "Long day," I added as Rachel sat up and began removing her scarf. "Too long," she answered. Then looking around the freshly tidied room, "You've been busy." "Yep," I answered, so busy that I lost track of time. I was going to have a risotto ready, but you'll have to wait for me to put it on now. "How about we go out for dinner, Mum?" she said. "There's a couple of nice places in town. We haven't done that yet." "All right," I said, looking down at my grimy clothes. "I'll have to get cleaned up first though, Rach. I look a right state. Oh, and we can't take the car. It's full of rubbish." "Oh," she said crestfallen. "Back out into the cold it is then." It had been a toss-up between Olivetti's, the Italian restaurant on the high street, Mac Cheese, spelt with Z, the posh new burger joint, run by a Scottish family, She told me that she'd been sleeping better and hadn't had any more nightmares, which I was pleased about. Also, the strange light that she'd seen from her bedroom window had disappeared. Perhaps breaking into the old hall had been a good idea, after all. Rachel was due back on Sunday afternoon. It was now Saturday, so I decided to spend the time clearing out the large attic space at the top of the house. I wanted to use it as an office and art room, but before that could happen, I needed to give it a thorough clean. The room was accessed via a small flight of stairs at the end of a narrow passage just next to one of the back bedrooms. I was halfway up these stairs when my phone rang. It was in the back pocket of my jeans, but I couldn't get to it because my arms were encumbered with a large box of cleaning materials. I put the box down and sat down on one of the dusty steps. "Yes," I said impatiently into the phone. "Oh dear, are you all right?" said a woman's voice on the other end of the line. "You do sound peculiar." It was Aunt Frances. I sighed. The last time we'd spoken, she thought I didn't sound myself then either. "No, I'm fine, Aunt," I said. "I'm just halfway up the stairs and a little out of breath. That's all." "That's not good, dear," she said. "You need to take a little more exercise, especially a woman of your age." I wiped a trickle of sweat off my brow with the back of my hand and bit my lip. More exercise. I'd been flat out for 3 days. I ignored Frances's unhelpful comment. "Is everything all right, Aunt?" I asked. "Oh yes, dear," she said. "Actually, and I know this is very short notice, but I wondered if you were free today. I decided not to post the family tree information to you. Didn't want to lose it, so I thought I'd bring it to you myself. It gives me a chance to see your new house too." "Ah," I replied awkwardly. "Well, Rachel is away until tomorrow, and I'm up to my eyes in cleaning, so it's not really a good time." "I'm afraid I'm already at the station, dear," Frances cut in. "Monk's Ferry station?" I asked in surprise. "Well, yes. I got the first train from Paddington this morning and then changed at Myrtleton. It only took 2 hours," she said. "Isn't that remarkable?" I shook my head in disbelief. "And you really should have let me know before you left London. What if I'd been out?" "Well, you weren't out, were you, dear?" she answered. "But I could have been busy." "I am busy," I said. "Well, never mind, I'm here now. Could you possibly pick me up? I'll wait outside near the taxi rank," she said. I put my phone back in my back pocket and sighed. It looked as though I didn't have a choice. Aunt Frances was here, and that was the end of my free day. And that ends chapter 18. I'll be back with you very soon with the next chapter. This has been Kate at the Library of Whispers.